What is popping, people? We are back again for another breakdown of the UFC. This weekend we got Marcin Tybura versus Tuivasa. Interesting heavyweight fight. I'm quite interested to speak about that. This is episode number 78. We've been doing this for years and years and years, and there's been many weeks where I haven't done this. So we're approaching that episode 100. This year we will get to episode 100. We'll probably do it like later on in the year, maybe like November time, we'll hit episode 100. So, I'm going to do something big for that. It's been a long grind, and we're back again, back in the hot seat. I'm ready to make some money, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I want to give a big shout out to everybody here. So we got Sean Hanning bouncing back with a bang. You already know that. Dixon saying I should have faded Morose. I should have. That was a very interesting fight down to the last 10 seconds. Bang, bang, where my dog's at. I think there's a couple dogs on this card, my man. I think we're gonna get a couple dogs on this card. Line Mover saying smoking hella narcotics from a mother's porch, as one commentator says. What else we got? Best base for MMA not being you already know. What else we got going on? Shout out to everyone here, man. Bang, we're back. Early video again. Yeah, man. I'm on the ball this week. I've already done a lot of tape study. I haven't tape studied every single fight, but I'll speak about the ones I have tape studied. I had a bad week last week, lost a lot of money. So I'm coming back with a bang this weekend. As always, I thought I was going to earn a lot of money last week, but I didn't. And I want to quickly address that. I've been blowing up this year. I've been doing a lot of content, and a lot of people have been messaging me after the loss. You know how it goes. You win 10 weeks in a row. People don't say too much. And then as soon as you lose, every motherfucker comes out from the woodwork, says you don't know how to bet, etc., etc. So I just want to address this, not for the people who have been following me for a long time, because the people who have been following me for a long time know about gambling. They know what sports betting is. They know you can't win every week. They know how much money I've earned. But the people who haven't been following me for a while, they may be watching this video, and I want to address those people. So we're going to have many losing weekends, boys. There's going to be a lot of losing weekends. You know what happened last week? That's going to happen again many, many times. So you better get used to it. One thing you can get used to a lot more is that we're going to have a lot more winning weekends than that, right? Every 6 to 8 weeks or something like that, roughly, we have a big losing weekend. But then we have many, many, many more big winning weekends. Unfortunately, we cannot win every single weekend. If we could win every single weekend, it wouldn't be called gambling. It would be called winning. And I wouldn't be gambling anymore because I would have won billions of dollars, because I've been betting for 15 years, and I probably would have retired from gambling about 10 years ago if I was able to win every weekend, right? So I would just keep putting money on all the winners, and I would have a couple of billion by now, and I'd probably be sitting in a desert somewhere getting money off crypto or investments or whatnot, right? So we don't win every weekend, but we win a hell of a lot more than we lose. And this year I have won mega bucks. I lost $50,000, close to $50,000 last week, but I've had many weekends where I've won well over $100,000. So if you are with me, and you have been with me just last week, don't quit, because a lot of people signed up to my service last week and a lot of people quit already. But I feel bad for those people because they signed up. We had a losing weekend, which is inevitable. We're going to have a lot more, like I said. But then they ain't going to be there for the winning weekends, right? But if you stay with me, you're going to be there for many, 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 many winning weekends. So I just wanted to address that for all of the new people. Obviously, the people who know what sports betting has been with me for a long time, they understand all this, right? They know we can't win every weekend. But for the new people, I just wanted to make you aware that this is what sports betting is. It's up, down, up, down, up, down, but we're always going up over the long term. So don't worry so much, man. Don't worry so much. Keep your emotions in check. A lot of emotional comments, a lot of volatile people. Just relax. Take a deep breath. Understand that this is a long-term game. That's why we use bankroll management. That's why we don't bet all of our bankroll on one selection, one weekend. And we're going to build it up. I am up 51 units this year already. I'm having the best year of my life. Even with the 16 units I've lost, I'm having the best year of my entire life. By far. It's not even close. I'm up over $250,000. I just gave 50K back last week. But the 6 weeks before that, I'm up over $250,000. So it's fine. will be up another $250,000 over the next few months. And with that being said, I'm going to get straight into it, boys. We will get into the card, and I'm going to bring up my screen right now so you can see my card. And I will say, I'll chat some of the comments. Bro, don't sweat it. Don't even listen. The more success you have, the more haters you will get. It's a direct indication of, yeah, of course, 100%, man. Haters are funny. I don't care about the haters whatsoever. I am addressing the people who are signed up to my service, but maybe under false pretense that we win every single weekend. Just want to let everybody know that that's not the case. The haters, I don't care about them. But people who sign up with me, I do care about them. What else we got going on? Nothing but time and opportunity. Let's go. A good loss keeps things kosher at the bookies. Yeah, exactly, man. It's so crazy that I've got so far MMA betting and I'm at such a high level that when I lose, that is the first thing that pops into my mind. Well, at least my account will last a bit longer now. Gambling is a long-term strategy. Yes, exactly. All the casuals gambling their rent and expecting 100% hit rate on parlays. Yes, for the most part, it is those people. What else we got going on? Good spam. Full card or main card breakdown. Probably just main card, man. I might do a little bit full card, but yeah, not full card. Elite Zone always on top. Exactly. Elite Zone is up 80, 90 units this year already. We're going to be cashing some big bets over the next few weeks, boys. And hopefully we start out with this card. So I'm going to bring up my screen right now and you can see we've got Gerald Meerschaert versus Bryan Barbarena kicking off the main card. This is a good fight. And when I say good fight, I just mean decent UFC level fight. You know, nothing crazy. Obviously, this card is nowhere near as good as it is. Nowhere near as good as last card, but it's still a decent card. I think this card is going to be a card which is a sleeper card, but there's a lot of good underdog spots. So I'm liking many underdogs on this card. And I'm liking many favorites. To be honest, I like this card in general, right? It doesn't always mean we're going to win, but I do like this card for sure. Gerald Meerschaert taking on Bryan Barbarena here. At this point in time, it's hard for me to see Bryan Barbarena win this fight. I'm just going to shade it off the bat. And it's quite funny because we see that Bryan Barbarena is 34 years old, right? But Gerald Meerschaert is actually the older guy in this spot. So I feel like a lot of people will think this week that Bryan Barbarena is the older guy. But it's not the case. He's not the older guy. And he actually has way less fights. I mean, you talk about Gerald Meerschaert's got over 50 fights. So it's quite funny. You know, in my head, Gerald Meerschaert's Bryan Barbarena is the older guy. Bryan Barbarena is the more shop-worn guy, the more battle-tested guy. Like, he's had more fights. But it's completely incorrect. Gerald Meerschaert's had way more fights. And he's older. But I do think that Bryan Barbarena is the one that is on the downward trajectory in his career more than Gerald Meerschaert. Now, I'm not saying that Gerald Meerschaert's in his prime, but I do think if we go back not too long ago, I mean, he was beating Bruno Silva just 1 year and 6 months ago. Whereas we go back to Bryan Barbarena's last win, it was against Robbie Lawler, who's extremely shop-worn. Bruno Silva's not that shop-worn. And before that was Matt Brown, split decision, again, who's very shop-worn. Outside of that, he's got run through by RDA. Fair enough, good fighter. Run through by Gunnar Nelson. Fair enough, good submission grappler. And beat up by Makhmud Muradov. Again, fair enough, he's a good fighter. Obviously, Gerald Meerschaert, that's a common opponent there. Gerald Meerschaert ended up finishing Makhmud Muradov. That was a while ago now. But yeah, man, I just feel like Gerald Meerschaert at this point is... I think he's just better than Bryan Barbarena. I think he's just better. Bryan doesn't have that many tools to dispose of Gerald Meerschaert. I mean, the way you beat Gerald Meerschaert, you hit really, really hard, right? But I don't think Barbarena hits that hard. I think his pace is quite high level, but I don't think he hits very hard. I'm not going to say it's impossible for him to win. I feel like if Gerald Meerschaert doesn't finish the fight, which I'm kind of expecting him to do, then I think it's going to be a split decision type fight, you know, where either fighter can win it, and Bryan probably will look value. But overall, I'm going to pick Gerald Meerschaert to get the submission win here. Bryan Barbarena has too much of a gap on the ground to not think that GM3 can submit him. And GM3, you know, he's not like a great submission grappler in that he's going to pass your guard, he's going to work for taking your back, and then he's going to choke you out. He's more of an opportunistic guy. You know, a lot of front headlock type things, a lot of guillotines. But he is very opportunistic, and I do think Brian's going to give him some opportunities to finish the fight here. So I'm going to go with Brian Barbarena here. But, I'm going to go with Gerald Meerschaert here via submission. But I won't be playing the money line. But Gerald Meerschaert submission is a prop that would stand out to me depending on the odds. And if we go to my good friends fightodds.io here, we can go and see some of the prices, right? So Meerschaert decision is plus 285. Meerschaert submission is plus 110, and I just don't like it, guys. I don't think I can get to a plus 110 play. At this point, I'll probably be looking to a round 2 or round 3 play. Gerald Meerschaert submission in round 3 is almost a system play at this point. I don't think that he's going to submit him in round 1. So I think it probably comes a little bit later when he's a little bit worn out, maybe when he starts making a little bit more mistakes. And so, yeah, I'm going to pick Gerald Meerschaert by round 2 or 3 submission. But in terms of bets, I don't think I'll be playing anything here unless we get some nice round props opening up. Next fight on the card, Pannie Kianzad versus Macy Chiasson. Yeah, so I ain't got too much to say about this. I think at this point in their careers, and it's funny, because in my head, Pannie Kianzad is like, she's more weathered, she's more shop-worn. But again, Macy Chiasson is actually an older fighter. So it's so interesting that 2 fights on the main card, in my head, the older fighter is actually the younger fighter. But, this is not the same as the Brian Barbarena, Gerald Meerschaert one, in that Macy Chiasson has way less fights than Pannie. She's only had 10 fights, whereas Pannie, she's over a 20-fight veteran at this point. She's had many fights in the UFC. And these girls have actually fought once before. It was back in 2018, I believe 2018, and Macy Chiasson finished her via rear naked choke. And to be honest, I don't really see too much different happening in this fight. I think Chiasson's going to get her grappling going. I think she's the physically stronger girl. I think Pannie is quite shop-worn at this point. I think Pannie's, I don't know, man. I just feel like she's lost a step at this point. She made that Landsberg fight hard enough for her in a fight that she kind of should have won that easily. But yeah, I'm going to go with Chiasson here to get a submission win again. Maybe she gets a ground and pound TKO. One thing I want to see about this fight is the weight, right? I want to see the weigh-ins for this fight. And the reason is because I don't even know if Chiasson's going to even make weight, right? So if we see against Raquel Pennington, she fought at 145, right? And she missed weight. She weighed in at 148 pounds. And now she's fighting at bantamweight, right? Then she fought again at 145 pounds. She made weight then against Norma Dumont. Then she fought again at against Irene Aldana, but that was at catch weight of 140 pounds, right? So is she even going to make 135 pounds at almost 33 years old as a woman? I don't even know if she's going to make weight, guys. And if she doesn't make weight, we don't even get the fight. Or if she doesn't make weight, maybe she just doesn't perform well. The 2 times she hasn't made weight, it's been against Raquel Pennington, right, where she got finished in round 2. But Rocky's the champion right now. She's a great fighter. And then the other fight, which was catch weight, so she wasn't dialed in at 135. She got finished via an up kick to the liver in an absolute meme finish. When we talk about meme finishes, one of the biggest meme finishes I've ever seen in the UFC was Irene Aldana versus Macy Chiasson. Irene Aldana was clearly losing the fight. I actually bet on Macy Chiasson there. I think Irene Aldana was a massively square play at minus 200. I bet on her at plus 155 there. And I thought we had the fight in the bag, and then she got up kicked to the liver. How often do you see that in MMA? That was like the definition of meme. It was the definition of meme. A lot of people calling Jack Della Maddalena's win a meme against Gilbert Burns, but it wasn't a meme at all. It wasn't a meme, right? It's the wrong word for meme. Yes, it was. I'm not going to say lucky, time the knee. You can't say he got lucky. I will say that it's unlikely, low percentage. But Irene Aldana was genuine meme, right? She done an up kick, and somehow she got a KO from it. It's just absolute insanity. Also, the KO wasn't even to the head. So I still feel like Macy Chiasson is functioning at a good level. She put it on Norma Dumont heavily. I don't take anything away from her for losing to Raquel Pennington. She obviously had that bad fight against Lena Landsberg. That wasn't a great look. But at the end of the day, she was very early into her UFC career there. She was coming off 2 finishes against kind of bum opponents. So Lena Landsberg's a tough out. She didn't even make it easy for Pannie recently, as I said, about a year ago. So Yeah, man, I like Macy Chiasson in this spot. I think she's performed valiantly lately. She performed well against Irina Dana. She performed well against Norma Dumont. Two good girls in the division. Two top 15 girls at, I mean, whatever you want to call it, featherweight or bantamweight. You know, they're about top 15. So I think she's going to have it in her to take Pannie Kianzad out here. I don't really think it's going to be too close, to be honest. I think she could even get a finish in this spot. You know, she finished her before, and that was on the Ultimate Fighter. So why can't she finish her again? Where I think Pannie's actually gone downhill a little bit. And I think Chiasson's probably better than she was. I think she's come into herself a little bit here. So, yeah, I'm going to take Chiasson in this spot, guys. Next fight is Christian Rodriguez versus Isaac Dulgarian. This is a banger, boys. Now I can actually get into the flow a little bit. Now I can get excited a little bit because, man, those two fights that I've spoke about, they was a chore to break down. I can't lie to you guys. GM3 Barbarena and Kianzad Chiasson, that's a fucking chore, man. So I'm going to sit back here now, and I want to hear your guys' breakdowns of this fight. So please tell me your breakdown of this fight. Who do you think wins? Why do you think they win? I want to interact with some people on this fight because I'm not going to lie and say this is an easy fight for me to break down. It's a fucking tough fight for me to break down, guys. The Midwest Chopper. Damn, that's kind of a scary nickname. And the dude's kind of scary for a bantamweight, for a featherweight. Man, he's a beast fighter. And we're going to get into it in a minute, boys. I'm just going to drink a little bit out of my Hezbollah cup. Just going to have a little drink out of my Hezbollah cup. You know, boys, the English boy got to have his tea before he breaks down a good fight. It's just like old times here. So shout out to everybody that is viewing right now. We got 390 live viewers. So I appreciate every single one of you. And boys, like I said, it was a bad week last week. We didn't win, but we ain't going to win every single week. But guess what happened the last time I had a bad week? I came back and I won 15 units. So you already know what we're going to do this week. It ain't going to be winning weeks every week, boys. But there's going to be way more winning weeks than losing weeks. And I have a good feeling about this week. I had a good feeling about last week. But I didn't have a good feeling about the week before. And I told you I didn't have a good feeling about it. And now I'm telling you that I have a good feeling about this week. I'm just going to come and tell you straight facts. I'm going to say if I feel good, and I'm going to say if I feel bad. 2 weeks ago, I told you I feel bad. This week, I most certainly feel good. And this is a fight where I may end up having a bet on it. I want to see where the line goes. We got Isaac Dulgarian, undefeated fighter, undefeated 6-0 pro, and something like 4-0 amateur. And every single one of his wins has come inside the distance. And not only inside the distance, but also in the first round. So, yes, I was correct. 4 wins, 4-0 as an amateur. Rear naked choke in round 1. Another choke in round 1. Punches in round 1. And arm triangle choke in round 1. And he's done the exact same thing in round 1 for his entire pro career as well. I mean, he's just running through these guys in round 1, man. And if we look at his career, this guy is a beast wrestler. He is taking you down. He is physical. He is slamming you all over the place. And his ground and pound is nasty, man. We saw in his last fight, his ground and pound is nasty. And not only is his ground and pound nasty, but he also has some good power submissions to set it up. I mean, I don't think the guy's super slick and rolling for dash chokes, but most certainly he's getting those power arm triangle chokes. Most certainly he's smashing you till you take up his back and he's just squeezing on that neck. Most certainly he's getting you in mainly arm triangle chokes and rear naked chokes. I mean, those are the two easy chokes to hit. You know, they're very easy to hit, rear naked chokes and arm triangle chokes. They're probably the easiest chokes to hit in jiu-jitsu. And when I say easy, I just mean they're white belt chokes, right? I mean, anyone can hit them. They don't require extremely, extreme technique. And that's what we see here with Isaac Dulgarian. I don't think he's the best jiu-jitsu practitioner of all time, but he's fucking strong, man. He's very strong. He's got vicious ground and pound, and he doesn't waste any time when he gets you to the ground. He ain't holding position. He's just trying to pound your face into oblivion, man. And that's what he did against Francis Marshall. I actually bet on Francis Marshall in that, and that was a very bad bet from me. You know, I faded this dude, and this is like a system player. I often do fade these guys that win in round 1 off, again and again and again. And it didn't work out for me there, and that was a bad bet. You know, I made a bad decision there. And will I fade him again? I don't know. If we go back and we look at the Christian Rodriguez fights, I've actually bet on this guy in every single fight in his UFC career. So I bet on him against Jonathan Pearce, and I was a massive underdog in that spot. I think I bet his decision line at like plus 800. I think I put a little bit on his money line at plus 300. So, you can say it was a bad bet or a good bet. I mean, I'd argue that based on how the fight went, it was a good bet. He had him in tight guillotines there. I thought he could have finished a couple of those guillotines. JSP just decided to be extremely tough. We saw JSP finished via a ninja choke, so he's not unfinishable. And actually, Christian Rodriguez almost locked one of those up himself. He was definitely doing front chokes. Whether it was the ninja or the das or the guillotine, it was a front choke. And then against Joshua Weems, I bet him to finish inside the distance. I bet on him as a plus 200 underdog against Raul Rosas. And then I bet on him again as a minus, I think I got minus 135 or minus 125 against Cameron Simon. So I like this guy, C-Rod. He's very good. I think he's very well-rounded. Do I think he's going to win the fight? I mean, it's very hard to say, right? I mean, we've seen time and time again where this guy's been taken down, right? He got taken down and dominated by Raul Rosas in their fight in the first round. He got taken down by Joshua Weems in their fight in the first round. And he got taken down for 3 rounds against Jonathan Pearce. So we've seen time and time again Dulgarian do what Rodriguez has had trouble with. So just straight in that regard, right? It's very tough to play C-Rod when we've seen him have issues with what Dulgarian will do. I mean, Dulgarian's going to take him down in round 1 here, right? There's no doubt that Dulgarian's going to take him down in round 1. I'm not really... I don't even think that's a question. But it really comes down to if Tristan Rodriguez is going to be able to scramble, like he's been able to do with everyone, even JSP. And then on top of that, and which I do think he will scramble. I don't think Dulgarian's just going to hold him down like he does most people and finish him. I don't think so. I think C-Rod will get back to his feet here. I think he will make Dulgarian work. So then it really comes down to, is Dulgarian going to have the gas to go 3 rounds like JSP did? Because if he does, he's going to win the fight. And if he doesn't, he ain't going to win the fight. Because if Dulgarian has 3 rounds of gas, well, he's just going to be able to take him down again and again because C-Rod doesn't have great enough takedown defense to stop it. But can you really bank on Dulgarian being as compact as he is, being as aggressive as he is, being as he's never gone out around 1 before? Can you really guarantee that he's going to have 3 rounds of gas? I don't think you can. I actually think you can't even say it's a question mark. I kind of feel like you have to say that he's not going to be able to keep up for 3 rounds. I think that's the logical approach. Now, if you want to pass on the fight overall because you say you don't know, that's fair enough. But I think logically, he's not going to be able to keep the same pace he does in round 1 against someone like C-Rod, who will be scrambling for 3 rounds. I think that's a logical thing to say. So I'm actually going to come out and pick C-Rod here. I'm going to say that he loses round 1 convincingly, and he comes back in round 2 and round 3, just like he did against Raul Rosas Jr. I also think he's going to have chances to lock in submissions, and I'm not 100% sure that, Dulgarian is going to be able to get out of these submissions like JSP. I mean, he's nowhere near as experienced as JSP was when they fought, and he hadn't fought the competition that JSP has fought when they fought. So, yeah, man, I think Dulgarian has a chance to finish the fight in round 1. I think he might dominate in round 1. But I'm going to pick C-Rod. I mean, he's more proven. He's the way better striker. I haven't seen Dulgarian on the feet a lot, but I mean, I'd put a lot of money on C-Rod being the much cleaner striker, the much more technical striker. I think C-Rod has much better gas tank. I mean, I can't guarantee that, but I do think C-Rod has a better gas tank. I think C-Rod's gas is very, very good, to be honest, because I think Cameron Simon has an elite gas tank. And C-Rod 30-27 did. Like he was winning in, maybe it was 29-28, but he was doing very well in round 3. So, I'd be very confident in saying that C-Rod has a better gas tank. C-Rod, like, he does slow down a little bit, but I think that he does have a better gas tank than Dulgarian here. And I think he's got better jiu-jitsu. So I think the jiu-jitsu may cancel out some of the beast wrestling from top. I've never, ever seen C-Rod just pummeled. Even Jonathan Pearce couldn't really do it that much. Jonathan Pearce didn't really have C-Rod in any trouble. He never looked like he was going to finish the fight. And yeah, man, I think C-Rod's going to be able to scramble. And in round 2 and round 3, I think it's going to be tricky for Dulgarian. I can't trust Dulgarian in round 2 and round 3. I can trust C-Rod. So I'm going to pick the guy I can trust to go for 3 rounds. And that's C-Rod, man. So yeah, it's a great fight though, boys. It's a very, very good fight. All the money's coming in on Dulgarian, and I understand why. Stylistically, he's got a big advantage here, but we don't know whether he can carry it early. And we've also never seen him up against this level of competition before. And we have seen C-Rod in these tough fights before, having to dig deep. So I'm going to trust the guy who's shown me that I can trust him. And he's beat 2 very high prospects already. He's beat Cameron Simon and he's beat Raul Rosas Jr. So maybe he beats another hype prospect in Isaac Dulgarian on Saturday. I'm going to pick him to weather the storm in round 1 and just outpace, and hurt Dulgarian a couple of times on the feet in round 2 and round 3 to a decision victory. And I wouldn't even be surprised if C-Rod was able to latch up a neck in this fight, maybe a Darce choke, maybe a guillotine, and Dulgarian just goes to sleep because he doesn't really know how to defend it as well as someone like JSP. So that's it. All right, we've got Kennedy Nzechukwu, the African Savage, versus Ovin St. Preux. So Kennedy's a massive favorite. I understand why he's a massive favorite. OSP has looked very, very bad recently. OSP has looked washed against Felipe Lins, knocked out very early in round 1. OSP looked very washed against Shogun here. Looked very bad over a split decision win there, very bad. He looked washed against Tanabosa, knocked out there early in round 1. Maybe it was round 2. I think it was round 1. I can't really remember. And then he kind of looked washed against Jamal Hill, but Jamal Hill's basically the champion here. Dixon saying Von Flu, choke, sub, sprinkle, hedge. Yeah, I don't think so, but I guess you always have to play it there. But yeah, man, I think it's called Von Preux, by the way, brother. I just feel like Kennedy's going to finish the fight, man. I can't see much outs for OSP to win the fight. The only way Kennedy wins the fight, the only way OSP wins the fight is if Kennedy makes a huge mistake, like he has done in fights before. But yeah, like GC saying, man, OSP has 90 seconds of cardio and then he gasses. Plus his chin has looked poor lately. Kennedy can probably knock him out on the feet, knock him out with elbows, knock him out in the clinch. And he can just finish him in round 2 and round 3 because OSP is going to be completely gassed here. I don't have much to say about this one, guys. I don't think that OSP is going to win as the underdog. I know a few of the degenerates are going to try and play OSP here because he's a massive, massive price. It's not going to be me, boys. I think Kennedy's going to finish this fight. I'm not even going to speak about this fight for too long. What's the point of me breaking down the fight? I've just got no motivation to break down that fight at all, guys. Yeah, like Hitman saying, OSP has been coming for paychecks for like 3 years now, man. I don't see much out for him to win the fight. And he's 40 years old, so yeah. Brian Battle versus Ange Loosa. Kennedy by sub. Yeah, that might be a play, man. I can see like a stand-in ninja choke or something like that. I really can. Even like a stand-in rear naked, some stupidness like that. Rear naked, but he's got it on like half like a bulldog choke. Some bullshit like that. Brian Battle, Pooh Bear versus Ange Loosa. Yeah, so I think Brian Battle's the deserved favorite in this spot. JB's already saying it's part of JB's special. I can see it, bro. I can see it. But yeah, man, Brian Battle, I think he's just a much better fighter than Ange Loosa here. I don't really rate Ange Loosa that much. I think outside of durability, Ange Loosa doesn't have too much going on. Obviously, in his last fight against Reece McKee, he won the fight, but he almost got knocked out in that fight. He almost knocked out Reece McKee in that fight as well. He's got very heavy hands, I will say that. But he almost got knocked out in that fight against a fighter who is not UFC level at all. Against AJ Fletcher, yeah, he won the fight, but again, that was a crazy fight. He got hurt in that fight. It was close there. Lizez, he got pieced apart very, very easily. And then John Howard, I mean, going back to that, he wasn't even in the UFC, and then he's got battered by Jack Della Maddalena and showed one of the craziest chins I've ever seen in UFC history. So, yeah, man, I think Bryan Battle's going to win the fight. Is he going to win the fight inside the distance? I mean, Ange Loosa, this guy doesn't get beat inside the distance, but I think this could be the one because I think Bryan Battle can finish him on the ground, and I think he can finish him with a head kick or something. So I actually like Battle in this spot. I think Battle's a good fighter. I think he got taken down by someone like Rinat Fakhretdinov, but man, Fakhretdinov is just like, he's way more physical than Ange Loosa in terms of the rest. I mean, his technique is just so much better than Ange Loosa. I don't think Loosa has the technique or even the strength to keep Battle down. I think the strength that Loosa has is like physicality strength. I don't really think it's grappling strength. If you guys have grappled before, if you've wrestled, if you've rolled, if you've done sambo, you understand that there's a difference in strength. You know, you have that athletic strength, but then you have that grappler strength where it's just grip strength. They can just hold on to you. They can just keep you down even when they might be skinny, right? And I think that's what Fakhretdinov has, whereas I don't think Loosa has that type of strength. So I feel like Battle can probably scramble if he gets taken down. And yeah, you know, the gas is even better for Bryan Battle here. So yeah, I like Battle everywhere in this fight. You know, Loosa could potentially hurt him on the feet, but outside of that, I don't really see his path to victory. He has to grapple for 3 rounds, which I don't think he has the gas to do. Or he has to knock him out on the feet. And again, I just don't think he can do that. So, yeah. What else we got? Oh, you didn't want to mush it. Yeah, fair enough. C-Rod jelly hips. He does have jelly hips, but he's got jelly hips, which helps him shrimp and scramble as well, man. So, I don't know. It could be a double-edged sword there. Can't wait to fade your picks. Well, you're going to lose a lot of money, brother. Great breakdown. Thank you, brother. Battle round 2 sub. Yeah, I could see round 2 sub for sure. What else we got? Let's fucking go. Let's go. Battle looks in better physical shape every fight. Yeah, so he moved weight class, and he definitely looked better since he's moved weight class. I think this is the right weight class for him. And that's it. We're on to the main event. Tuivasa versus Marcin Tybura. Yeah, weird fight, guys. I think stylistically, Tuivasa knocks this motherfucker out. But obviously, mentally, I don't know where the guy is. It was kind of like the weekend where I was talking about Peter Yan. I ended up betting on Peter Yan there. I had a decent-sized bet on Peter Yan to win via decision. And I also had the fight to go to decision or over 2.5 rounds. Won a lot of money. I won over 10 units on that fight overall. But the reason I initially wasn't going to play Peter Yan is because I didn't know where his headspace was, right? But after I fought for some time, after I weighed everything up, you know, I decided that we're getting a massive market overcorrection here. Yan shouldn't be even money. And so I decided to play Yan, and I think that played out in the fight. And I kind of feel the same here. Like, I think Tuivasa stylistically knocks him out, but I also feel like mentally, I don't know where he is at. And he also had a knee injury, just like Fubu's saying. He had a knee injury on Boxing Day last year, and that's only 3 months ago, right? It's only 3 months ago. So I'm not 100% sure I'm not 100% sure that he's back to normal now. So it's tough, man. He's been knocked out 3 times in a row. He had a knee injury 3 months ago. And I just don't know where he's at mentally, man. And he's the favorite. So it's tough, man. It's tough. Blunt Force is saying, agreed, dude is on a downtrend. Also, he loves to bender and smash with beers. Has his own beer company doing well in Oz. Yeah, I mean, if you go to his Instagram page, which I do before I do, you know, tape for any of these fighters to see what they're up to. Yeah, he's posting a lot about drinking. One of his last posts was him like dancing fucked up in a nightclub. I don't know if he was on fucking MDMA or whatnot, but he looked really drunk. I don't think that was recently. I think that was before, and he was posting it up, to be honest. But I mean, outside of that, there's lots of pictures of him in like out clubbing and stuff, or, you know, maybe not clubbing, but he's out having fun. Most certainly he's had a couple of drinks. I don't know I haven't seen anything of him in the gym, really. You know, I'm not saying he is not in the gym, but I'm just saying when we put all of these things together, it's tough to put money on him, right? You know, DG Ted not taking his career seriously, always drinking in his last 3 performances were horrible. It's true, man. Against Volkov, I bet on him against Volkov. I bet on Volkov against him, and man, Volkov run through him badly, man. Just beat the fuck out of him and then submitted him. Obviously, Pavlovich and Cyril Gane means nothing really, but the Volkov one definitely didn't look good. Tuivasa is never a reliable bet. Yeah, it's kind of like a question mark on what type of guy you're getting. Everyone's saying the same thing as me. Fubu's saying, I don't like Thai training back in Aussie with his mates at a such gym. Did his best work when he was training in Dubai. So, yeah, man, it's a weird one for me. Like, I can see Ty knocking him out in round one, for sure. But I can also see Tybura just weathering the storm and just coming in as the more reliable heavyweight, the more seasoned heavyweight, the more veteran heavyweight, not fat, and kind of just winning by decision, grinding out rounds 2 and round 3, getting a couple of takedowns. Tybura, man, like, he's a good fighter, you know? Like, Tybura, I could see this fight being kind of like the Blagoy-Ivanov fight, where it's very close in round 1, then he just grinds on him, takes him down. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm in two minds about this fight. It means that I probably won't have a bet on this fight, but I may play Tuivasa KO round 1 or Tuivasa KO, and then I may play Tybura. I don't know, like Tybura. I would say Tybura round 2 or round 3, but it's a main event, you know, so 5-round fight. So I don't really know how I want to play this. I don't think Tai Tuivasa is going to last for 5 rounds. But Marcin doesn't really finish, guys. I mean, if we go back and look at his career, couldn't finish Blagoy. Round 3 wasn't that far away, though. Romanov, good win there, but couldn't finish him. Walt Harris, he finished him, and Greg Hardy. Fair enough, he finished them too. But outside of that, Ben Rothwell, Maxime Grishin, Sergey Spivak, Stefan Struve, Alexander Romanov, Blagoy Ivanov. I mean, he's going to decision with all of these guys. Not really a finisher, but is Ty really going to last? Yeah, I don't know, man. This is a fight where it's a very ugly fight, a fight that I probably don't want money on. And that's it, boys. That's my entire breakdown here. I've gone through the entire main card. If there's any other fights you want me to break down, let it be known now or forever hold your silence. And if I've done tape on that fight, if I want to speak about that fight, I will speak about that fight. But yeah, a card that I actually like in terms of betting, I've already got many bets. I've actually got 4 bets up already. So if you want to sign up with my service, go to lucrativemabetting.com. We win an insane amount of money long term. We have won over 500 units since I started tracking about 5 years ago. We've already won 50 units this year, and we're not even a third of the way through the year, which is absolute insanity. If I carry on at this rate, we're going to earn like 220 units profit this year or something crazy. Last year, we won 151 units profit. So, yeah, man, I mean, we crush it year after year. The amount of money that we earn it's insane. You know, there's not really any gambler in the entire world, for the most part, in MMA that earns as much money as me. That's just facts. That's recorded stats. Yes, okay, we can lose random weekends like we did last weekend, but we're going to continue to cash, and we're going to win most weekends. We don't win every single weekend, obviously. I don't think any person with one brain cell believes we win every weekend. But over the long term, we win. So if you want to sign up with me, go to my website. We're going to have a lot of bets this weekend, as always. What are your thoughts on BSD versus Dustin Poirier? Yeah, I thought that was an outcome that could happen. If you watch any of my breakdowns, I thought that Dustin Poirier could knock him out if he could handle the wrestling. He ended up handling the wrestling. I also think that many iterations of that fight, BSD just finishes him with a rear naked choke in round 1 or round 2. I mean, Dustin was close to being finished a couple of times there. He just weathered the storm. You know, he's a dog. I wasn't surprised really at all, to be honest. Yeah, not much to say about that one. Like, I always knew that he could get knocked out. His boxing defense is horrific. It's always been horrific. Yeah, I don't know. Not too much to say, bro. Holloway versus Gaethje. We'll speak about that on another card, bro. That's not this week, so we won't speak about that now. If you don't have the service, do yourself a favor and go get it. Totally worth it. Bang, this is a smart guy right here. Obviously, he's joined up to my service, probably earned tons of money. So shout out to you, bro. Shout out to being here. Enzo is saying wild numbers. Yeah, 500 units in, I think, less than 5 years, to be honest, boys. So, yeah. Any value on Bam Bam Barbarena? I've already broke that one down. You can go back and listen to it, bro. What we got? File versus Osborne. That's boring one. I don't want to talk about that. Culibao Silva. That's an exciting one, but I want to keep that for my members. Big Bird saying you ain't winning this weekend if you're betting Grigori. That's all I'm going to say. DSP brain dead for not keeping wrestling in round 2. Yeah, but he always kind of does that. He breaks for a little while, pressures them up against the cage, then shoots takedowns. So I don't know. Thoughts about Culibao Silva? You've already posted that one, I think. I'm going to keep Culibao Silva for my members. I'll be breaking that one down over the next 24 hours on my Elite Zone. Fialho versus Osborne. Not really a fight I want much to do with, to be honest, bro. I'm going to look at more tape for that one, though. I did watch a couple of fights, but I couldn't really get a read. Chandler versus Nunes. This is a mad fight, man. Chandler versus Nunes is a hilarious fight. I don't like have a strong read on it. Let me see the odds, boys. This is a proper meme fight. Very, very funny fight. Okay, there is a bet I like on this fight, but I'm not going to mention it because I want to bet it before you motherfuckers bet it. You know, our Parlay Madness live stream is so epic where we give out bets and the lines change on stream, you motherfuckers. So I ain't going to give out the bet I like on this fight. But I will say that both fighters have a chance to win. I think Chelsea Chandler could get the fight to the ground and win that way. But I think Nunes could just light her up on the feet with big overhands. Nunes, the smallest girl in the world, 5'2", fighting a 5'8" here. Yeah, it's going to be very, very funny. This fight's going to be funny. You know, one way or another, it's going to be funny. Mike Davis versus Natan Levy. Someone saying I like Beast Boy. Yeah, I do. I think Mike Davis is a much better fighter than Natan Levy. The only reason he'll lose this fight is because of inactivity. I don't really see Mike Davis losing this fight. Levy's not the worst fighter in the world. But, I mean, what has he really done? You know, he couldn't even finish Geraldo Valdez, which is kind of terrible. Mike Davis is just a way cleaner striker, the much better wrestler. Yeah, I don't really see much outs for Levy winning. I think the only way Levy winning is if Mike Davis has been streaming too much. I know he does his PlayStation streaming type thing. And he is very, very, very inactive. But anytime I've seen him, he's fought well. Against Slava, he fought well. You know, he got hurt on the feet a couple of times, but he stuck to the wrestling game plan. They're a very smart fighter. Against Mason Jones, again, very, very tough fight. You know, Mason Jones gave everything that he had to offer, but he still got beat easily, like handedly in that fight, you know, and obviously the Gifford fight, you know, that was a knockout, and Gilbert Burns, fair enough. Gilbert Burns is a tough fight. Yeah, man, I like Mike Davis in this spot. I feel like something weird could happen in that fight. I don't really know why I think that. I guess maybe just because Mike gives me these vibes where he might not be 100% on MMA. And he's been very inactive. But outside of that, man, I don't really see a way in which Natan Levy wins the fight. So that's it, boys. Complete fight breakdown there. And yeah, man, I'll be back in a couple of days with my boy Jewish Better. And we'll be doing the Parlay Madness live stream. And boys, you already know the Parlay Madness live stream is up the insanity amount of units. Yes, we didn't win any bets last weekend, but most people in the chat know the score. We make parlays. So the nature of the show is that we're going to have many shows where we lose all the bets. It's just the way it goes, right? The smallest bet we had last week was plus 700. So of course we're going to lose parlays. We had like a plus 3, 4, 5,000, you know? So there's going to be many weeks, boys, where we don't hit any parlays. That's the nature of the show. But this year, we're up 71 units with 139% ROI. It's absolute insanity. There is not an MMA show on the entire planet that has that record at this point in time. There's not an MMA show on the entire planet that has a better record than that. There's nothing more to say. What else can I say other than that? Like that sentence I just said there. What else can I say? I can't say anything else. The stats are the stats. The record is the record. All the shows are up on YouTube. You can go and watch them. We hit 64 units on one show. I mean, yeah, man. The results speak for itself. So if you want to tune in for that, we'll be going over the entire card as always. And we're coming back with a bang this week, boys. I'm motivated. because we're coming off an L, I'm super motivated. It's crazy. I'm actually more motivated off an L than I am off a W, which wasn't always the case. You know, a lot of times I'd have a big winning weekend and fuck, I'm super excited to win more. But now I'm just super motivated to come back off a losing week. But it's cool, man. I'm going to have many, many more losing weeks in the future, but going to have more winning weeks. So hopefully this can be one. I'll see you in a couple of days. Shout out to the 578 live viewers watching this right now. And yeah, man, more content to come in the week. Obviously, every single day I put out content. And yeah, man, I'll be back in a few days. Good luck on all your bets.